We associate the Dark Brotherhood from the Elder Scrolls series to stealth. When we think of the Brotherhood, we think of sabotage, sneaking, assassination, and stealth. Because of this, most players will go through the Dark Brotherhood questlines as a sneaky assassin, skulking in the dark using daggers and bows to eliminate targets, which is basically how most of them do, so you can't blame anyone for that. However, while shitting on a toilet, I realized that nothing in the Dark Brotherhood states that Dark Brothers and Sisters must exclusively use stealth during contracts. And after a bit more of looking at the lore as well as the in-game representations of the group, I did conclude that yes, there is no need to be a master of stealth to become an effective member of the Brotherhood. And let me tell you why. So before my main points, I do want to quickly talk about the history of the Brotherhood. Because I think knowing about where the group came from does show why stealth is not necessary, but also why most of the Brotherhood members tend to be sneaky individuals. So the Dark Brotherhood is actually a split from the Morag Tong, an ancient guild of assassins based on Morrowind. Now there are different versions of how this split came and if this story is at all correct, plus some other lore stuff that will take too long to explain. But the TLDR is that when the Morag Tong went underground due to problems with new mandates after they assassinated Emperor Riemann III, the Brotherhood started prowling around Tamriel. For those who do not know, the Morag Tong are assassins who operate similarly to the Brotherhood. They accept contracts to kill targets and send out an agent to assassinate said target. But the interesting thing about their mode of operation is that their assassinations are legal. You see, the Morag Tongs have these things called writs of execution, which are basically a permit to perform public assassinations. They get these writs from the person who puts out the contract. These writs are technically government approved also, since the Morag Tong usually takes job from the different Morrowind houses. As such, you can summarize the Morag Tong as government hired assassins. Everything they do is legal in the eyes of the law. So they can kill someone in public, and if a guard tries to arrest them, all they need to do is show the writ. This also means that they do not really have to rely much on stealth, since they can outright assassinate a target without needing to prepare for an escape. This is very different from how the Brotherhood works, since the Dark Brotherhood is actually illegal in all of Tamriel, which is the result of the Morag Tong and other assassin guilds being made illegal. And so because of this illegality, I do reckon that Dark Brotherhood members who are proficient in stealth tend to fare much better and survive, making them the more numerous population in the group. But this doesn't mean that the Brotherhood members need to be sneaky. It's just that stealth is really a useful skill if you're gonna be running from the law. I mean, just imagine a sneaky wood elf versus an orc in heavy armor infiltrating the Imperial prison. It is obvious that the sneaky elf will have a higher chance to survive, compared to the orc who will likely get seen and fight against legionnaires. And so because of that, we do end up seeing shadow-scale Sargonians, sneaky elves, powerful wizards, and the craziest bloodthirsty NPCs in Dark Brotherhood sanctuaries. They basically are the best of the best, the ones who are never seen, or the ones who can rip apart 5 trained guards without breaking a sweat. And again, despite this circumstance, stealth is still not a requirement. We see members like Gogron and Arnbjorn who are more warriors than sneaky assassins. They are forces to be reckoned with, fighters who look like they will have no problem getting outnumbered. And so they tend to survive if an assassination does end up with them being chased by the law. Next, let's briefly talk about the 5 Tenets. The 5 Tenets are: never dishonor the Night Mother, never betray the Dark Brotherhood or its secrets, never disobey or refuse to carry out an order from a Dark Brotherhood superior, never steal the possessions of a Dark Brother or Dark Sister, never kill a Dark Brother or Dark Sister. To do all this is to invoke the wrath of cities. And if you look at the tenets closely, you will see that there is nothing there talking about stealth. I mean, there's nothing even about sneaking, hiding, or anything sneak related. The closest is about keeping the Dark Brotherhood secret, which I believe is mainly talking about not telling anyone about the sanctuaries and their operations. And so because of this lack of directive about stealth approach, I think it is safe to assume that Cities has no problem making yourself known when you are on a mission to kill a target. So another reason why the Dark Brotherhood tends to be associated with stealth are probably the optional objectives that promote sneaky gameplay rather than straightforward combat. For example, the Accidents Happen quest in Oblivion, where you are to assassinate Banelin, has the optional objective to use a mounted Minotaur head to kill the target. This dissuades the player from just walking straight up to the target and killing him with a weapon. Or in the Scheduled Execution quest, the optional objective is to not kill anyone except the target, which means that the player has to avoid being detected by the guards. However, as Grogan said,
Yes, of course I value our secrets, and I have never betrayed them. But using stealth to kill, it's just so weak.
But brother, what of the contracts that require subtlety? You must at least strive to earn the bonuses that are offered.
Bonuses? Useless, I say. Gold and magical trinkets are no substitute for the freedom to slaughter anyone I please, at any time.
Oh, Gogren! Your methods may be crude, but your heart is always in the right place.
Lastly, which is definitely the least of all these points, is that if you decide not to sneak and simply walk up to your target and talk to them, you will find that there are actually some dialogue options that you can choose. Most of the time, they include choosing either to be silent, to mention cities, or simply get a target riled up with a snarky remark. While this may seem nothing at first, if you think about it, it means that the devs thought about players not doing stealth and just walking up to their targets and antagonizing them. Doing so can even give the players a bit of context about why they are assassinating the target. I mean, just take the very first target of the Oblivion Brotherhood, which is Rufio. If you choose the third option, you'll hear a hint as to why someone wanted him dead.
No, please. I didn't mean to do it, you understand me? She struggled. I told her to just stay still, but she wouldn't listen. I had no choice.
And so yeah, those are some of the reasons I thought about as to why stealth is not really necessary for a Dark Brotherhood member. This has actually prompted me to create a build that revolves around the Dark Brotherhood, but with a character who never uses stealth and just loves committing acts of murder. But yeah, anyway, let me know if you agree or disagree, or if you have other thoughts about the topic.
I don't know who the Night Mother is, but she pays me to kill people. My own mother should have loved me so much. You know what they say, home is where you hang your enemy's head. Truthfully, I've never really understood who or what Sith this really is. As long as I obey the tenets and fulfill my contracts, I guess he's happy. Later then.